What is happening, everybody? I'm Larry Roberts.
And I'm Sarah Lucy, and this is Branded, your comprehensive guide to creative branding.
And on this already hilarious episode of the podcast, we've got an amazing guest with us today. Sunny Dublick is a taco enthusiast. And as soon as Sarah and I saw that, we were like, I don't care what the conversation is. We're talking tacos on this episode of the podcast. So, Sunny, welcome to Branded.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. For the record, Sunny is also an award-winning marketing strategist and founder of the Sunny Dublick marketing agency. But yes, more importantly, we all love tacos and Batman.
Exactly. So many synchronicities already.
Nate. So, we use a platform called Podmatch to find potential guests for the show. And when we came across your profile, I think it was suggested as a potential match, but when we got to digging into your profile, one of your suggested topics there was why your marketing sucks. And man, we just loved it.
Tell us.
Tell us. Well, I relate to it so much because, man, I've been playing this side hustle / entrepreneur game. Finally, I was a real entrepreneur 3 years ago, but I had the side hustle thing going for 7 years prior to that. And I went through so many brands and so many marketing attempts and trying to establish myself as a brand. And in all honesty, each and every one of them sucked for different ways or different reasons. So tell us, Sunny, why do most people's marketing suck?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so brutal. I'm originally from New Jersey, so I'm just going to tell it like it is, right? But honestly, a lot of what I do is consulting. And that's what people are paying me for, is essentially to tell them, is it bad? Is it good? I think the first question I always really love to ask is like, is this a brand that you yourself are proud of? And I think even with personal brands, it's so interesting. A lot of people tap a marketing agency and they're like, this person is going to do this for me. They're going to make it cool, right? They're going to make it all of these exciting things. And it usually doesn't happen that way. You're not even bought into it at that point, right? Because someone else is handling it. But I find this all the time, like I call it the sea of sameness of what I think marketing is right now. Mm-hmm. And it's everyone is just in this super crowded area being like, let's do more of this. Let's do more of this. And none of it's cool. None of it's fun. None of it's exciting. None of it would work on you. Like my ultimate beta test is like, you're trying all of these things. Would you say yes to them? Right? Like, I can't tell you how many people come to me and they're like, well, I just need more ads or I just need more emails. I'm like, don't you think people are tired of that? I am a firm believer that marketing is not supposed to be screaming into the void, like buy this, buy this, buy this, and just hoping people come into it. It's like, I think I joke, it's like we're running after customers with a flaming piece of paper, like buy now, instead of attracting business, which is what happens when you have a cool brand and a cool business. And I was listening to, it's so funny, I went down this rabbit hole with your whole like Liver King episode. But what's funny is like you guys were hitting the nail on the head, just talking about like being more yourself. Mm-hmm. Like I can't tell you personally how much. Like at first, like I'm so weird in so many ways, like we all are, right? And all of the kind of corporate speak and everything like that it's the life that I live at work, right? Mm-hmm. But like at home, I'm like an anime weirdo and I love to like paint and draw and I'm obsessed with Australian shepherds and like I make goo-goo voices at dogs. Like I'm a weird person.
Can we be friends?
Yes.
The same thing. It's so crazy because I love to draw and paint and create as well. I mean, and we've mentioned this on the podcast.
I have an Australian Shepherd mix.
Do you? Oh, we need to talk all about them.
And I've got a brand new cat. If you can see the back of my hand there, it was a stray, and now she's my cat. It's a crazy thing. But
the cat distribution system found him.
Even going all the way back to high school, I was an art nerd. My high school class ring, there you go. My high school class ring, you got to swipe it sometimes to get it to go back into focus. I'm with you. But even my high school class ring has art on one side.
Yeah.
I've been that creative, nerdy kind of guy my entire life. But I've also made the mistake of trying to, instead of embracing that uniqueness and that nerdiness, I try to counter it by doing what I think everybody else thinks is cool.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, when I first started, I can't tell you how like boring and generic everything was, because I was like, well, this is what people want to hear. And then as time went on, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm a marketer. We're one in however many million right now, even just in the United States. Like, you could throw a, like, you know, and hit a like 10 marketers in the process. Um, and I think what I realized is like, I'm not really being who I am, right? Like, I'm being what I think everybody thinks I need to be.
Right.
And I think when I started leaning into that, it's so funny, the people that have come to me and they're like, I love your branding. I love your website. I love the way you talk about marketing and yourself. And like, you know, my tagline is like, I believe in a no bullshit approach to marketing. And like, I thought that was going to isolate so many people. And it was actually the opposite. A ton of people came to me and they were like, I love that you're so honest and real about what's going on. So I think like the question of how do I know if my marketing sucks? It's like, does it feel good? Like when you're looking at the things that are being posted, if you're not posting them themselves, like, does it feel right to you? Do you feel excited about it? Like, I have a post going up on LinkedIn later this month that is so weird. Like, I did an Eras Tour poster of my different photo shoots over the years. I'm like, this is so cringy and strange, but it's me. Like, I am that. I'm like, I'm excited about this. So I think that's part one. And then the second part of it, like I always joke, you know, you can have the best business in the world, but if you don't have customers, you have a hobby, right? So like, it needs to also resonate with the people that you want to talk to. And does it? Like, I think so many people are like, well, I can't tell if my marketing's working. And I'm like, well, you can though. Are you getting people that say that they see it? Are you getting returns? Like, there's literally every tool underneath the sun to measure that. So you know if it's working and hitting them or not, right? In the right way. You know if you feel good about it. And if you don't, just open up the conversation and ask them.
That's something that we miss.
Yeah, it's the weirdest line of people being afraid to ask their customers what they think, and not in like the creepy, here's another survey, give me a 5-star review. Like, you know, just having a conversation with another person.
I just figure if they're paying their invoices, that they love it. They're doing all right, cool. They're giving me money. I must be doing something right.
Exactly. But I think that it's such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And one of the things, like, I'm really heavy into marketing research and in particular customer interviews. So when I start working with a client, one of my first things is, can I talk to your customers? And it's so funny, the things that they tell me. They're like, well, customers love this and they buy from me because of this. And then I talk to the customers like, we don't give a crap about that.
Yeah.
We like X, Y, and Z, and we went to them because of this. And by the way, they're missing the mark on this. And it's usually this completely transformational like experience. When I do that presentation, it's so fun for me because it's literally taking like the wool off your eyes of what you think versus what we know. And all it is talking to people. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm literally just getting in front of someone and asking them questions.
A trust is a huge part of that too. And I know it's like 87 or something % of executives think that their customers trust them, but the actual number is like 27%.
Yes.
It's so different. And they're not focusing on the reasons why they should be trusted. They're just focusing on sales.
Yeah.
And it's never going to help.
Yes. One of my clients, it's so funny. So they work in the tech space and they do, I mean, they're amazing. But they told me all of the crazy cool things that they do. And I was like, cool, prove it. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, like, prove it. Like, what does that look like? Like, give me the proof that this worked that way. And they were like, well, it could do. And I was like, no. Like, people, like, that trust comes from proving your value over and over again. And it comes from showing up and doing more than you should. And I always talk about this in marketing, like, value first. Like, before they even come in the door, I want them to feel like you've already given them $1,000 worth of information, right? Like, because it makes it an easy sale. And so I think, you know, I've been thinking a ton about this. I just read Deepak Chopra's 7 Laws of Spiritual Success.
Okay.
It's like 50 pages. I picked it up at Five Below and I was like, this looks like it could be insightful. But one of the things, it talks a lot about like karma and like manifestation and all of these principles we know. But one of the things that like just keeps coming up for me is like, we draw such a hard line between work and personal life that it's like, well, this is my business life and then this is who I am at home. And I'm not saying like there's reasons why those boundaries exist, but I'm saying that like if we acted in accordance with who we were personally at business, I think branding and marketing would be a lot easier. Instead of just pushing crap out into the universe and being like, hoping someone sees it, hoping someone buys, acting like I want to understand these people better. Like, let's say you're a new brand starting out, like you have 30 Instagram followers. Why not start writing them and just seeing what they're interested in, what they like about your brand, what they think is missing, right? Like, I think there's so much ego involved in business where if you think about it from a personal perspective, you could never walk around like brands do, right? The level of just high level narcissism and ego that we swing around of we're the best, we're the best, we're the best. No one wants to hear it. You know, it's coming down to earth and being human. And I think that's what works.
You know, I think at the same time, it's a little scary though. And I see this more often than not, then people, they either post the same crap that everybody else posts. They have the inspirational quote card or whatever it may be. And then they hit you with a value bomb of some sort. Or they post nothing.
Yeah.
Because, and you mentioned ego, which definitely rang true to me. But at the same time, there's that fear of that acceptance. And so many people don't take the necessary action to get their brand out because they're afraid of that rejection. They're afraid of people actually seeing their personality and go, well, I'm sure they love my brand, but they're not going to love me.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend who has a shirt down here, which I love. It says not for everyone. And I just love it because that's as cheesy as that is, like, it's good when people don't like you because it's a reaction. Like, they're not for you then. You know, like I talk about this a lot with, sorry, my camera's going a little haywire. This is a recent Amazon purchase. But I talk about this a lot that like, I think sometimes people are so keen to please. Like it was just like what we were talking about. Like I was writing and doing all of my personal marketing for everyone else. And I took myself out of that equation. And that's where the miss is because people want to feel like they can relate to you. You know, the brands, like I always ask when people come to me and they tell me what they want and what they're looking for. One of my first questions is like, can you start telling me some of the brands that are aspirational to you and that you love? And then I start asking, like, do you feel like you're marketing in accordance with the things that those brands do? Like everyone's always going to say Apple. I'm an Android user, which is a bone of contention with so many people.
Oh, and well, thanks for coming today. We appreciate it.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. My boyfriend literally was like, when I saw your text message come up green, I was like, I don't know about this.
It's green, but it's a red flag.
Yeah. Almost didn't have a relationship because of it. But no, I just think like it's so very important to like lean into like what it is that you are. And like, you know, I have a really good friend down here who's a realtor. And she's like all the tattoos, like super spunky and like real estate. You think of the woman with like the headshot with like the arms crossed. And she's leaned so far into her brand. She has this like really awesome like sketch of her as like kind of the old school like 50s, 60s sketches and everything like that that she uses and everything. Yeah. And it's like people love it and people resonate with her because she's showing who she really is. And again, it's not for everybody and that's okay. It shouldn't be. And the people that don't like you, it's like, I mean, I can't tell you how much rejection I've faced because people want that more corporate person. And I've learned that that's a good thing because it's like, I probably wouldn't enjoy working with them anyway.
Yeah, there's enough people to go around that you don't need to appeal to every single person.
Yeah. Yeah. And like just have fun. But it's like such a middle school kindergarten advice, like be you, you know?
But again, it's just so hard. And I think I still fall prey to it today, although I do cherish dearly the first piece of hate that I got online where someone said Larry Roberts is a fraud. Discuss. I was like, yes, this works. I made it. This is amazing.
No one discussed though.
Yeah, nobody discussed. So I don't know if that was
I should go back and add some comments.
They didn't care, or I'm not a fraud. I don't know, but that was still just the coolest thing ever was to see that comment. I was like, this is great.
All press is good press, right?
You betcha. It's amazing. But to counter that at the same time, you know, Sarah and I still love the fact that we've had people email in and go, don't try to formalize your show.
Yeah.
About how we cut out some of the bloopers and we cut out some of our banter, and we have people that email us, don't do that. That's that human element. That's that realness that allows us to listen and relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like that question of like, why are we all trying so hard to be something that we're not?
Sure.
And you can see that so clearly, especially with personal brands, but also with like some of the major brands. Like, I think the success of like Patagonia's, for example, you have now all these outdoor companies that are like, we stand for something. It's like, but do you? Oh, you do? I don't know if you're a Bridesmaids fan, but like.
And I make that mistake all the time, or I have, and I try not to now, and I'm not going to say that I don't. But I mean, I look at the big influencers that are out there, the mostly male influencers, but I look at some female influencers too. But I relate to the male influencers a little bit more, like the Gary V's and the Alex Hormozis and the Grant Cardones and all these figures that are very I can't think of the word off the top of my head. Shocking. They're very, what do you call it when something
like polarizing?
Polarizing. That's the word. See the actual writer between comes up with the word. But yeah, they're all polarizing entities. And I go, well, they're polarizing and they get all these views and they get all this success and they're making all this money. So I better be polarizing too. And I did it so much so that I've got another podcast that I'm recording now, and I'm going to release the whole season when it comes 10 episodes all at once. And it's a very localized podcast for Dallas-Fort Worth business builders. And I recorded the first, and I've been working on this for, how long has it been, Sarah? About a year?
Yeah.
Probably a year. We've got 6 episodes in the can. I got 4 more to go. But about a year ago, I recorded in studio this intro to the show. And I'm sitting there and I'm bent over and I'm looking at the camera and my brow's all furrowed. And I'm just, welcome to DFW Business Builders, where we're going to pull back the curtains on entrepreneurship. I was so mad for like 3.5 minutes of this intro. And then we start re-record. I had to, things got busy. I had to put it on the back burner, and I went and watched it, I don't know, a month or so ago. I'm like, dude, what am I so pissed about? So we had to go back in studio and just record me being normal, just being a cat. But I was trying so hard to be that polarizing influencer in Dallas. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
I feel like we're all just trying to do the thing that we see people doing because we assume if they're doing it, it's the thing to do. Yeah. And like you said before, the sea of sameness, we talk about that a lot when it comes to event marketing and the expo halls. Yeah. Because we walk through expo halls and it's just table with banner and pens and maybe some candy and some other little tchotchke with a logo on it that you're going to throw out and just cause a whole nother landfill. Yeah. And there's nothing. There's no connection. There's nothing different. There's nothing that stands out. So every time we do something like a booth, we always try to do something different. Yeah. And something that we know that the audience of that event is going to connect with, and something that we feel is just fun and very us. Yeah. So we did an event that was like a older female audience, and we turned our expo hall booth into a friendship bracelet making station.
Oh my God, I love that.
It was so much fun. And it's not just grab a pen and run. It's you got to sit here. I brought chairs from home that were comfy. Yeah. And you have to sit there and make a bracelet. And that gives me time to talk to you about what you do and how you do it and what your pain points are.
I love that.
And then for PodFest, where it's like a very kind of fun, almost like the whole conference is a party vibe, we turned our whole booth into a light up photo booth with an 8-foot inflatable backdrop, all these lights, balloons, instruments, glasses, all this fun stuff. But to get your photo, you give us your email. So people were coming over just because they wanted their photo. And then the photos come out with our logo on them. They forgot to take pictures of themselves the whole time. So they're sharing the photo with our logo, and we're getting all of this additional marketing. Yeah. And it's just such simple ideas. Yep. Like the bracelet making station cost me like $100 in like beads and string. And they got to put their own brand on a bracelet, and they loved it. They were making them for their kids, their grandkids. They were coming back 5 times. Yeah. It cost me $100.
Yeah. Well, you did like the most awesome thing, which is you put yourself in the position of like, what would make me stop?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's really all it takes. Like, sometimes I think people think they need to pay marketers like a ridiculous amount of money for all these things. And it's just like, just put yourself in the position of what works for you. Because oftentimes you're your own ideal customer. So it's like, what would make you stop? I just did my first ever booth exhibit. I was so nervous because I was by myself. But I did it in London in the UK. And I knew that there was going to be a bunch of other marketers there, which is always stressful because there's, and our industries were a little bit different because they were digital marketing. I don't handle anything digital marketing, but I wanted people to come over and interact with me. So I built an entire whiteboard on one side of the booth, like half of it. And I had these stickies and I asked everybody what they thought the world's best brands were. And it was such a great conversation starter. And I would put them on there and then I would tally them up at the end of every day. And people would come back around. They're like, oh, I'm curious what other people said. But it was such a good, like, hey, I don't focus on, because people think marketing, they think ads. You know what I mean? They think social media. And I would start talking to them like, no, this is how you build a brand that is worth noticing and talking about. And like, what do you love about this brand? And by the way, what do you do? And it was such a great intro. And like, I wanted the booth to feel interactive, like you were talking about. Like, I didn't want people to just walk up and take some flyers and like, they're never going to talk to me, you know?
Yeah, that flyer's going in the trash. So most likely it's going in the trash.
Yeah, exactly. I even apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm literally just here because you have umbrellas. I'm taking an umbrella and going.
Yes.
Like, it was raining that day and you had umbrellas. I don't care what you do. I just don't want to get wet.
I had a guy get mad at me because he had these like cute little octopus stuffed animals that was like their logo. And I said, hey, can I grab one of these for my nephew? And he was like, are you interested in like, it was like fintech or something. I was like, no. And he was like giving me the weird look and I just took it and ran because I was like,
I'm not interested in fintech. I'm interested in octopuses.
Yeah, exactly. My nephew
read the room.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so much of that. Like exactly what you're saying. That's so serious. And so like, there's also this weird vibe at a lot of those shows where it's like, come over and talk to us because we're so great.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't know. It's just awkward.
It's creepy because you see them staring at you and you make that eye contact. You're like, oh God, I made eye contact. My bad. You have to either go over there or you have to turn and run because you don't want to be verbally assaulted. You know what I mean? That's how I know they don't typically verbally assault you, but that's how it feels.
Yeah. Like the people at the kiosks in the mall that will hunt you down to give you lotion. Oh my God.
There's one up the street from my office and I just walk down and I always have my phone. I'm like, no, thank you.
Oh, don't make eye contact, blinders. Oh God, pretend you're texting.
Yeah, but it's awkward because you walk up and they're pitching you. They're like hard pitching you and you haven't even warmed up. I joke like the drunk person at the party who's only talking about themselves and everyone's like, shut up. Like, can someone please get this guy away?
Yeah, the guy that brings the guitar.
Yes. Oh my God.
There's that meme that's out there where they look like they're a new couple and the chick, they're like at a sporting event, maybe at a baseball game or something. They're in the stadium and she's just totally disengaged. But bro has got his arm around her and he's staring right at her and he's explained, like he's telling her the game, mansplaining the game or something. And she's just totally not having it. But I love that meme because so many times that's what happens to our brand. Yeah. We're trying to tell people that don't give two pennies about what we're talking about. Yeah. And we don't change the conversation to meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
We're too busy trying to be the experts, too busy trying to show that we know what we're talking about and our brand is the best. But oh girl, here it's our first date, man. She just wants to get to know you.
Yeah. Yes.
We skipped that step. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, talking about why your marketing sucks, I feel like a big part is because you're focused on yourself instead of your customer.
Yeah.
And
it's that narcissism.
Yes. People don't care about you. They care about what you can do for them.
Yes. 100%.
And that's what you need to be pushing. Like the bracelets, we had them put their own brand or their child's name or whatever they wanted on a bracelet because this is about you. We want to get your brand out there, not ours. The photos, it's a photo of yourself with your friends and your experience. It had nothing to do with us other than we slapped our logo on it and we paid for it.
Yeah.
And we stole your email address in exchange for it. But that's what the people love is because it's like, okay, this is something for me.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to be really pushing.
Yeah. It's something personal that gets them in the door and it gives them a sense of value of something like fun. Like it automatically tees up you guys as being fun. And they're not looking at you like, oh, remember like I met like 17 other podcasters. They were a drag. But like I got a friendship bracelet here. Like I don't know. It really is so much simpler, I think, than we let ourselves believe. And I get so bogged down. Like, it's funny, like, you know, I have people all the time like, well, do we need a TikTok now? And like, what about Snapchat? And then there's Be Real. And like, people will come to me with these like questions of, do I have to do this? And I'm like, first of all, like, just ask yourself, like, does that feel good to you at all? And like, is your audience even there? Like, I had a client come to me and he said, I need Instagram engagement. I was like, that's not what I do, but like, let's really talk about what you need. And he needed sales. And I was like, hey, I'd really love to do some more research into your company. And I'll do like a brand audit. Turns out that like his customers are all 65 plus. And I'm like, dude, I was like, they're not on Instagram. What are we doing here? You would have wasted so much money. And I think that's what is hard about marketing is I do think a lot of it gets a bad name because I joke about writing your own marketing prescription. So you go to a company, you say, I need 10,000 more Instagram followers. They're going to say, cool, I'll take that. I'll do it. We'll charge you this much money. But they don't know what's really going on because you've written your own prescription. It's like going to a doctor and saying, I need open heart surgery. You've never had a scan, right? So it's like, if you learn to identify what you really want, you can actually get it. But you're going to, right now, so many people see what's happening. I need more followers on Instagram. I need greater email engagement. I need conversions through ads to be better. And they're just hopping from agency to agency and marketer to marketer. Like, it's the definition of insanity, right? Repeating the same thing, expecting different results. And it's like, if you learn to identify what it is you're really looking for and need, it just makes it so much easier on everyone.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the metrics that they're looking at are vanity metrics.
Yes.
Like, you don't need 10,000 followers. You need like 1,000 followers that actually care about what you're doing and want to buy from you.
Yes.
Like, all 10,000 followers, if they're not active, all that gives you is being able to say, I have 10,000 followers.
Exactly. And it's for like an outside person, I can understand it if you don't understand the market, because I can't tell you how many people will come to me like, well, I need SEO and this is $2,000 a month, but I just need it because they told me I need it and I need to be at the top page of Google. And some of it you just have to realize you're never going to be.
Yeah.
Like, you know, me as a marketer, like in the US, you know what I mean? I'm never going to be on page 1 and I'm okay with that. Charleston, I might be a little bit, you know, it's a little easier, but there are some things that just aren't doable that people will promise you the moon, the sun, and the stars. It's like sifting through, like, what do I really need? You know, what do I really want? What do I really need?
How do we help people find that though? Because I mean, even me, 10 years in, I still go, well, do I really need that? What do I really need?
Yeah.
And we still struggle with it. And I mean, we have a podcast about branding, but at the same time, we still go through the same struggles.
Yeah.
How can people find out what they need?
Sure. I think first and foremost, I always like to make a list for people of what works and what doesn't work. Because you've tried a certain number of things, right? And it doesn't mean that the didn't work list isn't applicable in some way. But like, it might just be that you weren't doing it the right way or optimizing the right way. But like, I'm really curious of like, say your main strategy is events and you've gone to 15 events a year and you've gotten like 1 sale from it, something's up, right? So it's like, I like to go through the process of like what's been done and what's good and what's bad.
Close to home. I'm sorry, Sonny. I was laughing, but I wasn't laughing at it. I was laughing out of embarrassment. So like, that's okay.
That's okay.
But I have no idea what's going on here. So, yeah.
But maybe that's not the right medium. So one of the things that I'm really passionate about, the process I work with clients always starts with research. So it's everything that they've done marketing wise. Like, I do an audit of their brand. I talk to their customers. I talk to people internally, their C-suite, right? Different employees at different like phases and places in the organization. And then from there, I come to them with a strategy, which is all of like the bedrock of what it is your brand does. And then the next part is a marketing plan, because that makes it actionable. And what I hate is that traditionally we're trained to think we need an agency and they're going to give us, again, it's like the big 3. It's like ads, emails, and social. And people think that's it. Like, the sleeping giant here always, and I always talk about this, is like, we're always missing referrals. Like, we're never talking about loyalty, referrals, upselling. Like, the low-hanging fruit is something no one ever talks about, right? And it's so true, because the key to being great at anything and being successful is doing awesome work and having people tell people about it. Like, that in its essence is just, my business honestly has grown so much just based off of people telling other people about me. And 9 times out of 10, when it's a random person, it's not as great of a fit because those people are like, this is what Sunny can do for you, that kind of thing. But when I design a marketing plan, it's based all around what I know about their customers because I've talked to them. So for example, if you're going to these 15 trade shows, I always ask customers, like, which one, like, have you like attended any of these? What are your thoughts on these? Sometimes they're like, this is a dinosaur. We wouldn't go to that anymore. We're going here now, or we're taking things online, or now we're listening to podcasts. Like, I think sometimes it's like making sure, you have the finger on the pulse of like, where are they and what excites them, right? And it's like, it's just taking it backwards to like getting inside of their mind and what's working. But there's so many cool things that we can do that we don't even think about, like grassroots things, right? Like I see these all the time. Like I'm always on the lookout. I think it was Maybelline in London on top of subways. They had like the eyelashes like above the lights as a way to promote their new subway line. But like, it's fun and it's kitschy and you remember it, right? I ask friends all the time if they have marketing ads that they remember to tell me because I'm always curious. And someone was telling me there was a subway bus ad and it was like, it was a 1-star review for a book and it was of the Bible and it said, would never recommend or read Satan. And it was like, it's for a church. And I was like, that's hysterical. Yeah. And it's so different. And you think about that, right? So it's like, again, I think we pigeonhole ourselves into here's the 3 or 4 things that we know we can do. We'll take them to an agency. They'll execute them for us instead of, right? Are there ways to make things like you were talking about the friendship bracelet station and like the photo booth and like that's the out of the box thinking. And I think that's what being a good marketer is.
Honey, those were my ideas. Both of those.
He was so against them. He thought the friendship bracelet was the dumbest. We had to make an entire episode dedicated to him apologizing for how much he resisted.
I hated it.
Oh my God. He's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. How did I end up in business with you?
I hated it.
But it works. You can't argue with it.
Still talking about it. Last event we went to, they're like, oh, you're the friendship bracelet people. What are you doing this time? Yeah, no, they love it. I'm curious though, because you talk about referrals.
Yeah.
How do you ask for referrals or do they just come?
All the time. I'm always asking for referrals. And I guess you could say it depends. Like when I am busy as all hell, I'm not like, hey, can you give me more work? But especially when projects are at the point where I feel like I've proved enough value that they understand what I do, right? Because I hate nothing more than when you just start working with someone and they're like, give us a 5-star review, give us a referral, like all of this. And I'm like, I just met you. No. So it usually depends what phase of business I'm in, if I'm like actively BD taking on other clients. But what's so funny is how awkward we feel asking. Yes. And like, why?
So awkward. Yeah. I don't get it. I've tried to overcome it, but I still feel just awkward. Hey, by the way, you know anybody that also wants a podcast? That'd be great. I just feel so stupid asking for referrals.
Yeah.
One of our clients, they admitted this on a podcast that we produced for them. She will send an email saying that like she's gonna stop taking on clients. So let me know if there's anyone you really want to recommend and like really needs me, but then I'm not taking clients anymore. And she'll get bombarded with referrals.
Scarcity creates demand.
Yes. I think it was back when it was Joanna and Leah from Women's Share. And I think it was back when they were in the marketing for financial advisors, like That's space. Brilliant. And she's like, yeah, no, we would get so many. And part of me is like, that is genius. Yeah. And then the other part of me is like, you are lying. But do we care? No, it's genius.
Yeah. Because those clients have no idea. And like, I hear there's obviously both sides of the coin there. But yeah, I mean, the scarcity thing of like, hey, I only have one more spot. People start like that tension all of a sudden starts building in their minds of like, oh my God, I have to grab it. Like I have to do it now.
Yeah. So anything with like a time limit, like first 10 people or you only like today only, they work for a reason.
That's so funny. It's so funny. But one of the things that like, I always say this in marketing is like, are you making it easy for the customer to buy from you? Mm-hmm. Or are you making it hard? Do they have to go down a rabbit hole to figure out what it is you do and how you do it and what your pricing is and like all of that? And like, nothing is easier than being like, I have these services. There's a limited time. Like, here's where you sign the dotted line. Like,
yeah, I feel like that part is hard though, especially with like companies like ours and yours. It's like service based.
Yeah.
It can be hard to translate services into products.
Yeah.
100%.
Structuring it and everything. I mean, that's what me and Larry talk about this all the time, is how can we take this thing that we can do for you and just format it in a way that is buyable.
Yeah. I think it's nice to have the baseline to mess around with. Like, it's like, here's the packages. And most of my work is, because my work is like this, it's always custom.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can say that my like research, like intro package starts at this, and it's interviewing 5 people here and 5 people here. But usually there's a bit of push and pull if I only have 3, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it gives them like a North Star, because otherwise it feels so broad and so open, which can be scary, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm always saying like, well, it depends.
Yeah.
And I feel like a politician or a lawyer, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's
how can I work with you? Well, it depends. What do you want? And where are we starting? And how much am I doing? How much is your team doing? Like, there's so many things that go into it.
Yeah.
That's why I do like having package pricing as like that, again, the baseline. Almost no one does a package, right? They look at them though, and they're like, oh, cool. I like this, but can we talk about this? And then it kind of just fluctuates from there, but it gives them, because I think I read this, I forget, it might be like 40,000 decisions a day the average person has to go through. And it's stupid stuff like, am I getting up here? Am I wearing these shoes? What time am I going to the gym? All of those things. But like, we're like, the average human is exhausted. I think they also get around 10,000 marketing messages a day.
Yeah.
So like,
there's 60 billion pieces of content put out into the world every single day.
Yeah. So like, my question always becomes like, are you adding to the clutter, or are you making it easier and better on them? Because I think sometimes we put things out, like even you were talking earlier about content. You're like, sometimes like we just don't post anything because like we don't know what to post. And it's like, oh, I got to post something. I got to post something. Like, here's something, right?
Posting for the sake of posting.
Yeah. And it's like, you just got to gut check that. Like, am I really adding something good and useful? Or am I just showing up to the party just to say I'm there? Right. Like, because people are going to remember those weird, awkward bits. But again, I think it's just like, so much of it is just needing to like take the ego out of it. And it, like we've been talking about since the beginning, like you just focus on the people it's for. And like, is this better for them? Is this easy on them? Do they understand it? Do they like it? And if you don't know, you just ask. Like, it really can be that simple, you know?
I was just in a client meeting a couple weeks ago and trying to figure out how they want to market this service that they're trying to redefine. So they brought me in to sit on this meeting while they figured out how to structure the services and the business model around it and all of this. And like, I don't need to be here. I'm not marketing the business model around this service.
Yeah.
I just need to know, what's the end result? What are you giving to the people? How is this going to change their life?
Yeah.
You don't market the service, you market the result.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just misunderstood.
So exactly. So many people misunderstand that. And I mean, I take it all the way back to, when I came out of high school, I started selling cars. And I
don't know why my brain thought you were going to say selling drugs. I'm so sorry.
Before I started selling cars, and that was in high school. But after high school, I stopped selling drugs and started selling cars. But I spent the first few months just selling the car.
Yeah.
Oh, it does this, it does that, it does this, it has this, it has that. But not selling the value to each of those features and functions.
Yep.
And once I started understanding that and making that transition, I started selling a lot more cars. And it's the same thing with selling.
I have no idea what kind of engine is in my car. What sold me on my car is in the door, there's a specific holder for your umbrella. You slide, it's like an umbrella shelf that you slide your umbrella in. So you always have one. Nobody at the entire dealership knew about it. I sold myself the car because I'm just like, this is an umbrella holder. That's so cool. They're like, what? How do you even know that? Like, there's an umbrella picture right above it. How don't you? this is what you need to be telling people.
Yeah.
Tell people about the umbrella holder. I don't care about the horsepower. That means nothing to me.
Yep. Same.
Holds my umbrella. I went out and bought umbrellas that matched the car. To put in I have umbrellas. I needed them that will go with the car. It'll look like it came with it. This is meant to be together.
I love it.
I have a marketer's dream.
Volkswagen did the thing where they had the little vase in the Beetle.
Yes, in the buggy.
Yeah, and it was such a thing because girls loved that. They loved like personalizing their car. Like personally, I'm a Wrangler girl, and I will tell you why. Because I was obsessed with Clueless growing up, and Cher Horowitz had a Wrangler. And then when the time came for me to finally like pick a car that I wanted, I had a friend who was selling Jeeps, and I was like, it feels serendipitous at this point. Barbie had a Jeep, Cher had a Jeep, like sign me up. Like
he's got Jeeps, man. I had a Jeep at one time. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
I grew up on country music. I always wanted a Silverado.
This is well, and again, but it's they talk a lot. There's this book I'm obsessed with. It's called For the Culture by Marcus Collins, and he talks a lot about belief systems and subculture.
But like country music is a subculture where having a truck is so paramount to how you see yourself showing up in that culture. Like having a Jeep, like I live by the beach, like, and I love the ducks. And like, there's so much about Jeep that has built a brand
around us weirdos that are like, we need the doors off our car. Like who thought of that?
It's because they didn't build a brand. They built a community.
Yes.
And Subaru is now trying to do the same thing. If you've heard of like the Moo Moo Subaru. Now, instead of ducking a Jeep, you have little cows that you put on a Subaru.
I have not heard that.
Haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, Moo Moo Subaru. I don't know if Subaru came up with it or someone else did, but they're building a community. They want people that will just become brand evangelists because they turn their product into something intrinsic in their life.
Yeah.
Like Jeep owners are a different breed.
Yeah.
There are people and then there are Jeep owners.
Or strange.
It's like vegans. It's like if they have a Jeep, they will tell you.
Yes.
My best friend's vegan. I'm not saying that to be mean, but it's like they will tell you. You will know.
Yep.
Best friend vegan, like that gives you a pass. It's
like everyone knows.
So
actually, my best friend is both vegan and drives a Jeep. So
well, I read this super awesome case study about Wranglers because obviously. But there was this gentleman who did a marketing research experiment about them because they were actually thinking about their sales were way down on the Wrangler and they were trying to make it more like every other American SUV because they thought that's what people wanted. And he does these fascinating experiments. It's like 5 hours long and he just talks to people the whole time. And then they wind up telling them all these life stories. But people loved Jeep. Like they had a code word for it is what his whole premise is based on, called the culture code. But they associate it with the word horse. Because they were like, we associate with riding out into the West. Like, it's almost like being on a horse. You got the doors off, the top off, like freedom. Like, we think as Jeep owners, we want more freedom. So he's responsible for them going back to the circular headlights. Because I don't know if you remember, but for a while they were square because they were trying to make them blend in. And essentially all of his research, he went back to Chrysler and he was like, no, set this apart. Make this for the people that are the adventurous. I need the 4-wheel drive. I want to go up a mountain. I'm like, the people that would rather be on a horse if they could be. And I thought that was fascinating.
Jeep has done so much research with their marketing. I think it was the Renegade when it came out, which I'm pretty sure flopped. But when it came out, they beta tested the commercial for it. And it was like the truck is driving and there's explosions and all of this. And they tracked where people's eyes were going and planted the explosions based on eye movements.
That's so cool.
The last episode we were doing was all about like psychology behind some like branding and all of this stuff. So I'm rabbit holed and
yes, it's fascinating. It's so cool.
My degrees are in advertising and psychology.
That's a dangerous combination there.
It takes people a minute. They're like, why would you do both of those? I'm like, think about it.
Yep.
I know how you think. I can sell you anything. It's so interesting. Steve does a great job at everything.
Yeah.
Except for building cars.
That part's a little sketchy.
That part's iffy. But other than that, their branding and marketing is on point.
You talked about that 5-hour research that gentleman did, and we could turn this into a 5-hour podcast episode, but we should probably go ahead and wrap this thing up. So, Tony, I think it's been an amazing conversation. Had a lot of good insight, had a lot of fun, and that's what we love doing here at Branding. I don't even know what the name of the show is, but we love having a ton of fun on each and every episode. So, I want to say thank you for coming out. Also, where can people reach out and find you and learn more about you and how they can make sure that their marketing's not bullshit?
Awesome. So you can find me on my website, sunnydublick.com. And then I'm only on LinkedIn because I'm an anti-social media marketer. LinkedIn is the place where people are. And that's where I post the most. So
Cool deal. Well, Sunny, I know I got a lot of value out of this episode. I'm going to guess Sarah did as well.
And also a new best friend.
Yes. Off-seat owners unite.
So everybody, if you got some value in this episode, do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can continue to bring you these amazing episodes each and every week.
And send us referrals.
Send us some referrals.
Send us more business.
Amazing callback right there. I love it. So with that, I'm Larry Roberts.
I'm Sarah Losi. We'll talk to you next week.